If you've been a religious person, more specifically a Christian for a long time now, but somehow in the last period of time it doesn't seem like it makes sense for you anymore, this video is for you. My name is Aristotle Daskal and I help people fulfill their destiny. In this video I want to talk to you about my journey on simply giving up on religion, on the Christian, evangelical more specifically, and embracing a completely new understanding of God and eternity and everything that has to do with spirituality. I'm 41 now, and I've been in my youth very involved in church. I grew up in evangelical church, and I was for many years a worship leader. I've been a youth leader, similar to youth pastor as well for a few years, and I was very, very involved, and I thought that I have a very special personal relationship with God and with Jesus. But over the last years, before I completely got out of church, close to my 30s, I simply couldn't make any more sense of it all. And it happened both for me and my wife at the same time. And what it stopped making sense was that we are the best, we are the privileged, and everybody else that doesn't believe like us are gonna be damned for eternity, and they're gonna be tormented in the fire of hell. But we're good, because we believe in Jesus. It simply didn't make any more sense to me. Because I was looking around, I was looking in church, I was looking at everybody that was calling themselves newborn Christians, saved by grace, saved by God. And I wasn't seeing anything much more special. If any more so, I was seeing people that were a lot more kind, many people a lot more kind and giving and open outside of church. People that had nothing to do with Christianity or with any religion for that matter. And they were just kind and giving. And the answer that the church had was, yes, but it doesn't matter what you do. It matters if you are saved by Jesus or not, if you accepted Jesus into your heart or not. So what I realized is that everything goes back to the conception about God in itself and about Jesus. But I didn't get that deep when I started doubting of all this. What I felt was that simply everything was driven by shame, guilt, and fear. And this didn't make sense for me. It couldn't make any sense for me that we are the privileged that are going to go to heaven, and yet we are full of shame, full of guilt, and absolutely filled with fear. So much so that if you even had any doubt and you speak anything about any potential chance that God doesn't exist or thing might be different, that could get you enough into trouble for you to go to hell. And an example of that is that when I opened up a little bit and I told my mom about it, or I told my sister and my sister told my mom about it, she started putting everybody on prayer, and everybody started praying for me because I was about to go to hell. And that's why I didn't even tell anybody. Like, there were just, I think, 2 people outside of my wife that knew about what we were going through. Even now, almost nobody knows. There are a few people that even know. Why? Because everything changes once you're in a Christian context and you say that you don't believe anymore. Everything becomes a rescue mission. You are bad, you are low, and everybody's trying to save you from the position of they're good and safe, and you are bad and you have fallen. So all this positioning of shame and guilt of sinning, and then that the salvation is outside of you, it just didn't make any sense to me. When I started looking outside, and I've seen so many people, so many teachings that seem so kind and so loving. Still, the one thing that got me actually into depression in a way was the person of Jesus. And what I've learned about Jesus from the Bible, and I loved the character of Jesus. Interestingly enough, I've never taught that from Jesus, though. I've never taught about guilt and shame and that it's good and that you should be afraid. Actually, his teaching were completely the opposite. And this is where I want to emphasize the biggest difference lies into the misunderstanding, I think, of who Jesus was and what was his core message. And actually, recently I was to a church, because I've been going to church just for the environment of, kindness, and because I don't know anywhere else where to go to hear more teachings about kindness and take my kids somewhere else. And there was in this particular church, it was talking about how does a Christianity believe and how do other non-denomination or New Age or New Thought think about. And it was interesting that everything that the pastor said in the column of what Christianity believes, I was finding myself completely into the other column. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even know why I'm going here anymore. And one of the most important distinction is that in Christianity, I was taught that we are fallen and that who we are is this personality. And in what I believe right now, in more of a New Thought, spirituality understanding, we are a manifestation of God. We are God that has taken form for the sake of experiencing his own creation. What that means is that we are infinite beings. Not we're limited and we need salvation. We are God, and maybe we forgot that we are, and that's why we crawl sometimes into pain, because we forgot that we're here to experience the beauty in everything that maybe we interpret as pain. And on the other hand is the idea that Jesus has come here to save us, and who, if you believe in him, you're not going to die and forever perish, but instead you're going to live forever. And what I now believe is that Jesus was an enlightenment man, just like you and me, that remembered, or didn't get to forget much. He knew who he was. Exactly. He knew that he was what we are, which is a manifestation of God itself here. And he tried telling everybody who they are, that we are sons of God. And what he wanted was for us to open our eyes the same way that his eyes were open. But what we in religion did instead is we started worshiping him like he was different than us, like he was God and we're nothing. When what he wanted to actually say is that we all are God, just like he is God, and we have to remove the veil of forgetfulness and remember that and live like it. He was never trying to separate himself from us and say that he's better than us. He wanted us to live the same way on the path that he has been opening. Instead, we continue to walk in darkness, beg for his salvation, and continue to think of us as less than. I think that that is the biggest difference between Christianity as I've lived it and how I live now. Now I see Jesus as an enlightened man, just like a lot of other people have been, that have experienced God and they remember who they are, and they try to open up the door for us to remember and to step into the same identity, and that there is no hell. This is not a fallen world. This is, in a way, like a playground that we chose to come to experience life. And we can take it over and over again. And there's no, if you screwed up this time, you're done. When we're going to go back where we come from, we're going to be received with love and kindness, and we're going to be congratulated for everything that we've tried here because we planned for it. There is no fear of death. God, that's so relieving. There is no fear. You can be open and experience everything and question everything and live out of love, out of expansion, out of seeing what everything else, instead of being afraid to even think about, but what if this is true? What if this is true? No, you're going to go to hell if you even think about that. So I think that a lot of the Christianity now lives in a complete terror and a complete fear, not knowing who they truly are. If you are in that situation, a similar situation like I was, I hope that you're going to open your heart up to love. And you're going to just quiet down your fear and guilt and shame. And remember that you are a manifestation of God. You are a part of God that chose to embody himself in you for a very particular experience and purpose, to experience through your person. You're not nothing. You're everything. Remember that and live out of love and enjoy the power of creation, and you start creating just like God in you is the creator. Become the creator of your life. Stop living in fear, contracted. There's nothing to be afraid about. There's nothing bad. There's only experience. And if you have pains, and if we do sometimes things that we feel that we did something wrong, that's a lesson. Learn out of it and go on. There's no blame. I understand what you're going through, and I hope you're going to let love in.